Hello, my name is Cedric. I'm the head of the Software Technology Lab at Avnet Embedded. Welcome to this new embedded software session. Today's episode will be about a SimpleSwitch tooling. Let's say you just install SimpleSwitch on an SD card. You booted the board, and then what's next? Well, let's start with the tools that are provided in our SimpleSwitch base images and are just going to make your life easier when developing your project. You can use these tools to get access to information about running SimpleSwitch containers, check the logs of the system, install more SimpleSwitch containers, configure Weston, and so on and so forth. But let's log into the board and let's look at what's installed on a freshly programmed SimpleSwitch base image. We are going to use SimpleSwitch helper status to do that. So you can see in that board and with that image there is one container pre-installed. That's the DHCP helper, which is very convenient if you cannot plug your board over Ethernet directly to the network where your computer is connected. Could happen, for instance, if your computer is connected to a corporate network. Right now I'm connected with a serial link to the board, but if you don't have one, but you have a display, you can use this application as well to set up the network using an HMI and then get the IP address on the display, which is very convenient. Let me show you how you can do that. So right now I'm using a HDMI grabber and to share what's on my display. So you click there and it starts the container and right away it displays the IP address that is used by the board. So the user is root, and you can just connect to the board over SSH. Of course, you can start the DHCP container helper from the command line as well. It's just in case if you don't have like our cable kit, a null modem cable, and a USB to RS232 adapter, that you can just do that instead. Both ways will start the DHCP server directly on the board and allocate an IP address for the board on your computer. So we have a connection between the board and your computer. Let's install more application on our base image to make the configuration of our system easier. But wait, if I'm using the DHCP helper, how do I connect my board to internet? Well, it's explained in the documentation how you can do that, specifically in the GHCR section. So just look for that keyword in the documentation and we're just gonna follow the steps that we have there. So you can see now I can connect to the GHCR server and just I can just ping that. Just one thing, before you do that, just make sure that you have a discussion with your IT that the access point you are using to get to internet is one that they allow you to use with some external hardware. But let's get back to install some containers. And if you check your documentation, you will see there are plenty of containers available for you. As a first step, we're going to install the file browser. Why specifically that container? I'll get back to that later. But before you can connect to our registry, you need to do one thing. You need to create a personal access token on GitHub. So you can see, if you go to that page, it's explained here in that video. So I will not spend time on that, but that's how you create the password you will need to log into GitHub. So I'm just going to use these command lines and log into my GitHub account, and here it's where you should put your token / password that you just created. And if everything goes well, you see now I'm logged in. So now I'm ready to start installing containers, You can follow that procedure here with the container helper registry install, and we will install the file browser container. And you can go here to this section and you just copy and paste all of that and you're good. So now it's downloading the container, it's installing on the system. And now we can just start that container and we're done. So we just install the file browser on the system, and you can just access this tool remotely from your computer just using your web browser. But then you are missing one information. It's to which port you should connect to get access to that application. So as a next step, what we want to do is to check the logs of this newly installed container. Hopefully it's gonna show what port we should use. So for that, we're gonna use again SimpleSwitch helper command. And we just need to run this command here with the name of the container where we want to check the logs. So you see, I'm doing it right now. And you can see that the container is in fact listening on the port 8081. So it's the information we were looking for. So let's get back to your computer and start your browser. And then you can connect on this IP address, this port here, and you should see the file system and the apps partition. So why did I choose the file browser? It's because now we're gonna use to configure another thing with the system, which is the remote desktop. So what we want to do is to enable the remote desktop on the board. When it is enabled, we can share the physical display of the board, in my case the HDMI display, directly on my computer, without using the HDMI grabber that I was using at the beginning. It works as well, and that's a big upside, with all the supported LVDS displays. So let's configure Weston. If we go back to the documentation and look for RDP, it's giving you the command line, and you can just do it from the console. But now we're gonna use the file browser since we installed it to do exactly the same. So here you see I'm creating a new folder. Then the new file where I put finally these lines. I'm just following the documentation. We save it and we are pretty much done with the configuration. So now I'm just gonna restart the board and wait until it's fully booted. Okay, so now we have booted the board and we should have access to the remote desktop. Let's give it a shot. You can use the remote desktop connection tool. You click on connect, you accept the certificate, and here you can see what's on the display, what's on the physical display here directly on my computer, and I can interact with it from my computer. And that's it for today. I think it was a long enough session. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that session, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes. Have a nice day and see you next week.